Hey everybody, how you doing? Looks like we are live. Always a little bit interesting when it comes to the sound, but let's keep our fingers crossed. So we are here for part 9 of painting the lovely Jodie Comer as Villanelle, which she is this wonderful, beautiful, crazy, sexy villainess. And you just have to love her. So this is part 9. I'm going to say hello to Mr. John Payne. How you doing today? Good to see you. We have Brad. How are you all the way from Manitoba? And Mr. Willie, we missed you last couple of times. I'm so glad you're back, sir. And we have Roy from Color Graphics. Nigel, good to see you. How are you, sir? And we have Omas from Sweden. And the nameless subscriber, good to see you. Patty is here. So I want to show you guys some amazing things that Patty does. And I love my ink flinger community, right? Nothing better than you all. You are all amazing. So just sorry about the picture of me, but I want you to see what Patty made. And isn't this amazing? She is just incredible. Look at this with the Go Xtreme, Go Home logo with the Xtreme Patriot arrow. Patty, thank you so much. What a wonderful surprise. Hey Paul, how you doing? Good to see you. So I love this. So she made this one, which is amazing. And then this one is really cool. So I'm going to be putting up my tree in a couple of days. And these are going with prominence. And I love this one. This one has the Ink Flingers logo, really nice there with the eagle. So I have 2 logos, one that's red and doesn't have the eagle, and this one I like has the eagle, which I think is really good. William, how you doing? And Rick, how's it going? So Patty, I just want to say thank you so much. These are amazing. I appreciate it more than you know. So I am going to put them in a place of prominence, not just this year, but every year. So thank you so much. That is so great. We have such an amazing community here, and I don't take any of it lightly. You know, I really appreciate everybody, and you all mean so much to me. And it's a community that's built up over time. And a community that's built over time, when it grows slowly, it's stronger. You know, when a tree grows slowly, it's much stronger. When it grows fast, it might have, you know, very thin branch, a very thin trunk, and any kind of storm's gonna get rid of it. So I love the fact that we're a nice, small, tight-knit group, and that we grow very slowly. And we know each other. You know, Paul knows Rick, Rick knows Brad, Roy knows Willie. You know, that's what I want. And as an airbrush community, our small community is part of a larger community. And I just learned that Terry Hill passed away. And anyone who's been in airbrushing for a while knows just how important Terry Hill is. You know, he was one of the people who carried the torch during the times when, you know, people were basically, hey, what's up? How you doing, Blue? How's everything? At a time when, you know, a lot of people were just doing cars and everything, Terry Hill was doing t-shirts and paintings and just doing amazing stuff. It just happened as far as, you know, when people knew about it, Willie. And I just want to definitely, you know, dedicate tonight's live stream to him. I didn't know him. I never met him. I never even texted him. We were sort of in different parallel universes in the airbrush world. But I always admired him, and I loved the articles that he used to do in Airbrush Magazine, Airbrush Action Magazine. I know he did one time he did a t-shirt that was a Porsche, and it was just so amazing. And the way he introduced the way to paint the mesh of the grill of the exhaust and how he did that really blew my mind. And so yeah, it's very sad. And we hope at the end of our life we touched as many people in our field as Mr. Terry Hill, because he was influential in basically every airbrush artist, for me in the fine art world, right? And for other artists in the custom world and people in the t-shirt world. He basically transcended all those little subgenres. And I think that's really amazing that he was able to do that. So definitely, yeah, he was a t-shirt guy, definitely. And I know it was a sickness that came on pretty quickly, but we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to dedicate tonight's live stream for him. So here we are in part 9, and we're doing really well, I think, I hope. And as you can see, she's coming along, and the way the live stream is, it's not, hey Colette, how are you? The way the live stream is that it's never the same, right? One painting is never the same from another. So some live streams could be done in as little as 4 or 5 weeks. This one is 9 and counting. So we're not sure how many it will be. What I'm going to do is, today I'm going to concentrate on her gloves, and I think that's a good thing, to concentrate on her gloves. And thank you. And Mr. John Payne said she looks amazing. I appreciate that. And as long as and Blue says, as long as we continue to do the art, we all will honor the memory of those who follow. Definitely. Definitely, definitely. And so the sound is great tonight. That's fantastic. Thanks, Omas. And so that's really good, and that's a great statement there, Blue. Thank you for that. And now what we're going to do is, I have this, and in here, of course, I have the detail mixture. And so I don't want to start with the detail mixture. I think what I want to do is change my ISO, because she's a little dark. So if I go here, see how the ISO knocks that up, and then I could lower the shutter speed just a little bit. And with the magic of Canon DSLRs as webcams, we can do stuff that normally can't be done. So that's cool. So now we got to work on the airbrush part. So here's the picture to the right, and you can see Miss Comer here. She's amazing. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up my PureRef. And here we are. Where are you? Okay. And we're just going to look for Jodie. Where are you? There you are. And okay, so now we're going to work on her gloves. And to do that, I have the detail mixture with the Xtreme Patriot Arrow. And now I'm going to go ahead and load my Xtreme Patriot 105. I do have one of these in stock. They're really amazing airbrushes. They're the same detail, all the same wonderful upgrades that the Xtreme Patriot Arrow has, except you have the convenience of a large cup, and you never know when you'll need it. So that's why it's a good airbrush to have. You want to have an airbrush that's a little bit larger and could give you a lot more paint or ink, so that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the medium mixture. And we don't want to go in the dark mixture, because the dark mixture is for accents, right? Dark accents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be away from the painting, and I have my airbrush right here, and it's out of focus, but we're just going to put some ink in there. I only fill it at most 33%, but usually 25% I'll fill it. Maybe a little bit less in these big cups if I'm not doing backgrounds. That's basically what I would do. Okay, so now let's go back to this view, and we're going to work on her glove. And let's see, I'm going to practice off camera. Away from my painting, so my airbrush is working correctly. Because you never know, when you cleaned your airbrush, you might not have put the needle in all the way, and then when you go to spray it, just, and that's a disaster. So you always want to be careful and always err on the side of caution when you start with a new airbrush that you haven't worked it for the first time that day. Here we go. And so Nameless says, Tim, he hates explaining that to people. They assume that because the last project took him a week, the next one should take 3 months, even though they, yes, exactly. So it's not a cookie cutter, right, Nameless subscriber? Everything is different. And so we have to make sure that we don't get upset that one painting takes, 3 months while another one takes a week. Like, people are all the same. Mr. John, how you doing all the way from Wisconsin? How are you today, sir? How's the weather over there? I heard you're having a storm, like a windstorm. Is that correct by you? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start deepening up some of these darks. And the question I ask myself, do I want to cover the face? I think I do. Because any kind of overspray is going to make it look not so good. So we want to do everything we can to give us as much of an advantage as possible. Now, in my studio, there's a lot going on, a lot of projects, from my own projects to commissions to work with the students. So I don't know if I do have the face-only stencil. Now, I'm talking about the face-only stencil where I'm covering just the face. And of course, by moving these around, I might have lost that stencil. So in that rate, so for the sake of showing you and teaching you all this, I would not take that for granted. So what I would do is I am going to, because we're not in any hurry, right? We're just hanging, chilling. And so I'm going to find one of these cutouts here. And let's see. I am hoping that, because now I don't have a printout, but I can print that out rather easily. But I'm going to be looking, hoping if I could find that. Well, I don't want you watching me, it's really boring TV watching me go ahead and cut that out. So we'll just be careful. But in the future, I would love for you to use one of those little stencils to cover that face, because you don't want to have any overspray. Hey Ken, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, so Ken says he's getting used to the ink drying so much slower than the automotive paints. Oh, cool. So it is a little bit different than the automotive paints that you're working on. And so, Ken, what type of work, what kind of surface are you painting on? That's cool. And John says 50 to 80 mile per hour winds. Wow. So definitely be careful. Stay inside, my friend. So Colette says the same thing. She's also in Wisconsin. And Raul says, looking awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And hey, Mr. Steve Leahy, how you doing today, sir? Good to see you. And let's see. What did Nameless say? Nameless says he's always in a hurry and a very important person. So you're always in a hurry. It's not good to be in a hurry, right? But that's life, right? Life kind of makes us in a hurry. And that's really rough, And then what we're going to do is we're just going to continue working on those gloves, right? But we want to continue working on the gloves as a whole as well, not just get too pigeonholed. We will get into the details soon, but right now I just want to work on the larger aspects of those gloves. There we go. And you can see now we're starting to worry about the actual glove texture, whatever that is. We got this here. We have another shape going on here. And then this shape right here. We want to make sure we get these little sub-shapes going on, because that's what's really going. We got to get those sub-shapes, and just the way the light is hitting on this texture of these gloves, and we'll get there. We just have to be tenacious, right? We just have to work on this until we finish it, until we get to a point where, okay, we're kind of happy, and that's what we want. We want to get that kind of happiness with this, and we're going to get there. Trust me. It's all about sticking with the program, the game plan, right? Stick with the game plan, we're going to be okay. So now we're going to move down that glove, and we're just going to work on getting those darks richer, right? Here we go. And we're going to use our freehand shield to get this really beautiful hard edge right here. Perpendicular and not parallel. If you were to go parallel, you would create a line that's darker that you would just have to fix. So why not fix it in the beginning, right? Don't go there from the very start. This way you don't have anything to fix, which is great. So now we worked on this glove a little bit. We're going to let that dry, and while that's drying, we could work on the first glove, which is really fantastic. And let's see. And Steve, Mr. Leahy, did you know Mr. Terry Hill personally? And I'm sure if you did, you probably have a nice account on Terry to tell. And, 'cause I know you've been in the airbrush industry a lot longer than I have, so I'm sure. Hey, how you doing, Caroline? Good to see you. I unfortunately do not have the pleasure of meeting him, but I have been influenced by him over the years. That's definitely not an understatement. Just reiterating those gloves, but not just putting black arbitrarily, right? I'm definitely paying attention to the shapes and also the subtlety of where it's darker in certain areas and lighter. Now we're starting to get the kind of form of the gloves, and the kind of the wedge shape of the fingers is kind of a natural. So we definitely want to have that. And we're going to simplify this, of course, right? We're not going to do something that is so intricate that it's going to take so long. We want to paint the supporting actors and actresses, such as gloves and hands and background. We want to paint them, but we don't want to give them equal billing, right? We want to make sure that they have their place in the hierarchy of the visual elements of the painting. So that is something I learned studying art history. When you study the great masters, they'll definitely let you know how to do that, right? And So Kenneth says Lexan is what he typed. I'm going to look back and see if I missed anything, Kenneth. Oh, getting used to the ink drying much slower than the automotive paint. I didn't get the other saying that you said about Lexan, so forgive me for that. Oh, stretching this out. Oh, I see. Okay, no problem. So you, and thank you for using the inks. I mean, that's great. Thank you for trying them. So what's coming out pretty soon, either later in this week or early next week, are going to be the Sepia Mixtures. And the slogan is that sepia has never been so easy. Just like ink has never been so easy. Sepia is right along that line, and it's just going to help people just figure it out. And that's what we want. We want to help people figure it out and create more work and stop worrying about dilutions and all of this other stuff. I just go ahead and take care of that for you. And everyone loves sepia. Not all the time, but you know, when you're in the mood, sepia is amazing, isn't it? So that's going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to that, everybody. So now I did this part of the hand. I did go a little darker than I wanted to right here. No worries, I'm going to let it dry. Remember, don't get emotional about paint, right? You just, you know, you'll get back to it. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to dry in a couple of minutes where it's going to be like irreparable damage. So we just need to hang out. Oh, so Lexan is 1/2 inch thick bulletproof plexiglass. Wow, and you paint on that. I can definitely see why the inks would take a while, because they like to soak in, because they're very much like water, and they like to soak in into the paper. So that plexiglass, I can imagine it sitting there for a while. So I love to see some of the stuff you're doing, Ken, when you get a chance. And Colette says she loves sepia. Me too. And Stephen says he was fortunate enough to have met Mr. Terry Hill, one of the most genuine, talented people he's ever met. He revolutionized airbrush instruction. So true. So it must have been really cool to see him. Did you actually watch him work in person, Steve? Because that would have been definitely a treat on the highest level. So yeah, I'm really thankful that you had that experience. This is definitely glasses territory, but when it comes to glasses territory, you have to find the glasses too. So I think I was wearing my glasses when I was cooking, so I think they're in the living room. So I will be right back. No, I wasn't cooking in the living room, in the kitchen. Okay, not in the kitchen. Gonna check the bedroom. For me, it's first customary to check in the most illogical spots. And of course, it's by the printer. I have no idea why, because I didn't print anything today. So we are back in business, and we're going to use our aggressive eraser. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this finger. And I'll show you how I go ahead and do that. There's something called plowing the field. When you're working in Createx, where you're working in ink or what have you, or anything else, you don't want to put white on a dark surface. It's just going to cause issues, right? So that's very, very important to plow the field. And so Kenneth says, yes, you're exactly right. He works on the reverse side as well as the foreground of the plexiglass. And Blue says, Steve, what Terry Hill was to you and all who knew him, exactly how I feel about You and all the artists I've met. Oh, that's so nice. Steve is amazing, yes. So definitely, Steve is definitely carrying that torch, and that's good to see. It's comforting. Oh, look at that. And Kenneth says it makes a 3D effect on snow. That is neat. That is really good. Snow screens in mountains, definitely. So, yeah, and that's what I think Mr. Hill, I don't know him, but I think he would be very pleased about that there are artists who carry that torch and take over for him. And the last I heard that he was painting t-shirts in Kissimmee, where I used to live. And I know the art world, not just the airbrush world, but the art world will miss him. And he was just an amazing artist on any level, from, no matter what background you come from. Terry Hill was an amazing artist. And I think the thing that he would tell us is that, that the most important thing to him was to create art. And you can just see it. You can see his passion, and that's beautiful. Blue says that I'm included in that. Thank you so much. And we haven't met in person yet, but we will, definitely. Once this COVID-19 stuff goes, I'm planning on having a road trip to Chicago. Wouldn't that be great, where we can go and hang out with the people at Badger, hang out with Ken, have like a ink flingers party. I want to do something like that. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Get the whole Badger experience, right? I would look forward to that. Oh, Paul says Tim and Steve, Mike are his mentors. Well, that's an honor, Paul. Thank you. And so I really appreciate that. And one day, that's right. So definitely, I want to do such a Badger, just sort of hangout. Like they used to have meetups in the early days of the internet. And I would like that. Not necessarily classes or something, but just, a bunch of us just to hang out and talk about art, learn about each other, and just have a great experience to put the faces with the names and everything like that. And so Ken says he has some questions. And any questions you have, feel free, my friend. And the Ink Flingers brunch. Yes, that would be great, right? Got to make sure it's my cheat day, because I want to pig out. So as you see here, I'm just plowing the field. So think about that. That's another one of my Timisms. You want to plow the field before you put the white pastel in. And we have different ways of putting the Tim's World Tour. That would be amazing, right? That would be a lot of fun. So we can stop off at Badger, and we can go to Speedball Ink Factory, hang out with those guys for a while, have them show us around. I think that would be a lot of fun, right? Yes, we all need a cheat day, Blue, definitely. Oh, and so Kenneth says he has some questions, okay, and he says, but he sees how tough it must be to decipher. So fire away. Mr. Todd, I heard you had a birthday. I just want to wish you a very belated birthday. And I hope you had a lot of fun. Did you get any good presents? That would be great if you did. So as you see, I'm going to be a little bold with the stitches here. And I'm just going to pay attention with the 1 second rule. And I'm going to make sure I don't get too overzealous. But I'm going to see if I need to calm that down. And I just may need to calm that down. You don't know. There we go. And if I zoom out, we can definitely see if it's working or not, or if it's too strong. So I think it's a little too strong, so we're going to go ahead and take a kneaded eraser, and just a little tap tap. And yes, we definitely need to go to Canada. That would be great. Go hang out with Mr. Brad at his farm. That would be fantastic. Wouldn't that be cool, Brad? You would be the host of all us crazy people. So we're going to leave that as that there. And now I'm going to take and first I'm going to start with a less aggressive eraser. And I'm going to start trying to work out some of the lighter technique. And I'm working on the big shapes of that glove, right? I'm not going crazy with small shapes. I'm just working on the big shapes, and then I'm going to get smaller and smaller as we go. So right now you see some of the big shapes of the lighter part of that glove. And so that's cool. The board that I use is tinted. I actually use, so it's great to see you, Nigel, and how's everything over there? And so Kenneth says, I'm actually using paper, and it's color line paper by Canson, and it's 184 pound, and the color is gray. So I like working in gray because you can go lighter and darker and use the paper as the middle value. So that works really well. And Mr. Nigel says, Tim, in some of your other videos you notice that I show a sheet of tonal dilution ink mixes. Is it possible for you to send me that one? Actually, that was before the ink mixtures. So unfortunately, that is kind of proprietary at this point. So I don't send it out anymore. But that was how it was born, right, right, Nigel? It was that building up, and I was able to actually refine it into just 4 mixtures: detailed, light, medium, and dark, which is really cool. So it just makes the complex simple, right? And I think that's what, if I coin the expression from Edgar Degas, genius is the ability to take the complex and make it simple. And I agree with that 100%. So we're gonna attack. We're definitely gonna attack these gloves, right? We're not going to be tentative. We're gonna go right in there, but we're gonna be attentive, but not tentative. I like that. Let's be attentive, but not tentative. So we're going to approach it as such. And now that I have the white pastel, we're just going to start attacking this right here. And what's great is with the kneaded eraser, you can shape that white pastel, but you wanted to plow that field first, right? And that's important. And you can see we'll just start working on some of these lights, get more intense as we go. And we can see that it is lighter on each side of the crease. Is kind of like a little highlight. So we're just going to put that there, and we're going to make sure that we pay attention to what we're doing so we can keep our mind in the game with the 1 second rule. This is very complex, so just really concentrate and know that you're not going to get all the complexities all at once. And then what we can do as we're doing this glove here, we're going to set up with the paintbrush and the medium mixture. We go ahead and get that crease over here. And we're just working on the inherent nature of the leather and how it's affecting the light. The light is affecting it. And you see how we're starting to feel it's not just black, but there's a lot of shininess going on. And we're going to put that in. But we're tenacious. We're not giving up, right? We're just going to keep going until this glove reveals its secrets. Hey, Paul, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Keeping the support for the channel going. I really appreciate that, sir. Always amazing when I get support from you. It just lets me know that I'm doing the right thing. I'm spending my time wisely. And if I affect you and, makes you, maybe just a little bit of a more enthusiastic painter, and that makes me happy. Not only that, but maybe you start looking at the old masters more and having appreciation of you all being fine artists and not just custom painters, because all that's connected. Hey, Jesus, how you doing? Good to see you. And Brad says, Ken, all of Tim's live streams are recorded so you can go back and watch them. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, letting them know there, Brad. They are all recorded, and I do keep them up there for you. Oh, I'm so glad that you're watching now, Ken. That's fantastic. Glad to have you, my friend. And Willie says, take the vet for the ride. Oh, man, the Corvette, yes. Mr. Mr. Brad has a Corvette, which is really possible. And let's see. So I'm so glad to see you, Jesus. And Mary, how you doing? So Mary is here. I'm not sure if she's a bot or a real person. A lot of times when you see someone come on there and they have like a weird message, they're usually a bot, and that has nothing to do with me. I don't know why they would do that. I'm not sure. But again, you see that there's like a reflected light here. So I'm just going to very lightly put that in. You can see the glove is starting to look like a glove, right? It's not just looking like a dark hand. We don't want just a dark hand, right? So we want a little more complexity. Again here, I'm going to come over here and soften this. It is a lot of the hard, fast rules. Sometimes you can break them and you test them. So I'm putting white pastel right on the dark ink. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go with it. For some reason it's working. And I'm like, okay, that's why it's always good to do a lot of paintings, to test and to try things out. So yeah, it's nice that I'm getting this sort of glove texture, isn't it? So sometimes I don't ask why, I just say thank you, right? Yeah, so Blue notices those weird messages that, it's like little weird VASF or something like that. That's usually a bot or something. I don't know what they're doing. But I know it's up to no good, most likely, right? Most likely it's up to no good. So that's definitely interesting, to say the least. So it's so cool, Mr. Paul, with the $10 super chat. That is just amazing, and I just want to once again just say thank you, Paul, for the support. So you see how it's starting to look like gloves? But we got a long way. We should be back. Okay, we're back in business. Fantastic. We are back. So thank you so much for your patience. We got everything back here, I think. And we're going to go back to working on the gloves. So thank you so much. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the vote of confidence there, Mr. Brad. And so we are back in business. So let's go ahead and just make sure that we make good use of this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a cup and we're going to start doing some of the stitching on that glove there on the hand. So and I'm glad you're back there, Mr. Ken. And so now let's get some medium mixture. Dun dun dun. And we're going to put that in here. And now we're going to do some stitching. And we have that right here. I want to get a little bit of a piece of paper to make sure that, so as you can see, if we go with this angle here, you can see I take the dry brush technique. I take the ink, but I get rid of most of the moisture by putting it on paper, getting rid of that moisture, letting that paper soak it up. So now what I want to do is I want to come over here, and we'll zoom in so you can see much better. And what we'll do is we'll start to kind of work on the stitching here. And what's interesting, we always want to kind of feel the nature of what we're painting. And this stitching, what it does, it goes in a straight line, but then it gets fat again, sort of has that kind of feel to it, kind of an irregularity, right? And so we see how that we have that irregularity going. And so always try and look for the nature of what you're painting. Sometimes the nature of what you're painting is really more important than just being slavishly copying it. You know, if you can say something about something, it's so much more interesting than just copying it. So that's what we want to do. And you can see just by trying to understand the nature of that stitch, it's not just a straight line, but it gets kind of fat and then it goes back to skinny, gets fat, goes back to skinny. And now we can start to see that, right? And Jesus says he wished that he was going to the circus. Very cool. And let's see what we got. Let's go all the way down. Tone, how you doing? How's that ZV-1? Tone got the ZV-1 by Sony. It's an incredible vlogging camera. And you're going to see some great live streams from him in the future. And Nameless says, Tim, do you use basic India ink? I know you mix your own, but where do you get it from? So my main ingredient is Speedball Super Black India ink. They are a sponsor of the channel. They're friends of the channel, and they make the best India ink out there regardless of anyone else. And, you know, I've done some tests. So I am coming from a place of knowledge, and that's why I chose Speedball India ink, right? The ZV-10, what a great, I was almost going to get it, but I decided to up my my accessories. So that's the route I went, rather than get a camera. So I'm working on, you know, doing other things with my camera. So stay tuned for that for 2020. Some exciting new developments coming that I think is going to be really good in the airbrush world. See how important this center stitching is? I mean, it's mondo important, right? So you see how we're getting that stitching, and without that stitching, nothing would work. I had cheese raviolis for dinner. That was really good. That was the only solid food I had all day. It wasn't because I wasn't hungry, as I forgot to eat. There we go. So you see, let's take a look. Let's go zoom out and see how that glove is looking. Wow, starting to look much more like a glove, so that makes me feel good. And there is a space underneath the chin. We want to make sure we have that in sufficient size of this space and angle. So we're just going to come down here. See how we're always refining, always looking at what we're doing and just trying to do a better job little by little. And let's see. Nameless says, sounds awesome. Yes, it does. Another camera. Wow. Okay, very cool. And Colonel Sanders, Brad says Colonel Sanders wouldn't give up his second formula. And Tim's up there with his, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. And yeah, now that I have this new formula with the sepia, you're going to love that, everybody, because it's going to up your sepia game. And you know how many, I've actually been working on that for a year and a half. So that's a year and a half of testing that those sepia mixtures are. So, I wanted to create a product that's as successful as my ink mixtures, because those ink mixtures, they just work, right? There's, everyone just loves them. So I'm very proud or honored to have brought the Airbrush India inks in existence. And I think the airbrush world hasn't looked back since. I think so many people have been using the inks and doing great artwork with it. And a lot of people starting out, they're able, look how beautiful her chin is sitting on there right now. See how we're not worried about things looking like, thank you so much, Willie. Willie says that looks awesome. Coke won't either. Yeah, Coke doesn't give up their secret formula. But I'm always happy to give as much as I can. There's nothing I love more than sharing techniques and getting your artwork to that next level. I know so many times in the past, one of my motivating factors is a lot of times on these airbrush forums, there would be someone saying, "Oh, I'm gonna sell my airbrush and my compressor because it's just not for me." And a lot of people be out there, "Oh, how much you selling it for? Let me get it, this and that." And my whole thing is, whoa, 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 hold your horses there, Kemosabe. Let's figure out what we can do. You bought that airbrush, you were excited about it. Let's get that excitement back, and let's just find out that the reason why you're selling your airbrush is not from frustration or discouragement, but from another place. And a lot of times it was from that place of discouragement. So my thing was, I got to come up with something that's really going to bring those people back from the ledge, right? And get them to fall in love with their airbrush again and do work that, was the reason why they went out and bought this crazy thing in the first place. So that's the real reason why I started, right? And Tim, do I have ink and color? No, not really. I think if I'm going with color, the best route is probably Golden or Createx if I'm working in color, to be totally honest. I would probably work with them, but it would be definitely Drew Blair's illustration white, not the Wicked, not the Wicked. I would definitely go with Drew Blair's illustration, by far. To me, a much better product. And Jesus says, Tim, do they have the ink in color? Oh, do they have the ink in color? No, they don't. Speedball just basically has black and white, and some are waterproof, some are not waterproof, and they do a full line of calligraphy inks, but not as far as color, Nameless says, looked up Speedball and seems to be a soluble, affordable ink, good for tattoos too. Anyone ever? Yes, and they're non-toxic. So that's the beauty. So Speedball is definitely the way to go. Tone Airbrush says it looks even better on this TV he's using at work. Oh, how cool. That's fantastic. And Nameless Subscriber says that's because the formula used to be, oh man. Talking about Coca-Cola, yes. I heard about that too. That's very interesting. Very interesting. So we're just going to continue with this. And we're going to be tenacious, right? That's our middle name, tenacity. And we're just going to continue. So we want to make sure that we get the nature of this stitching. Okay, we'll move this over to the side and take a sip of iced tea. That's always important. This is my cheat. This is my one sugary drink for the week. So that's why I'm enjoying it so much. Really, really enjoying that. So I'll share that enjoyment with you all. And Willie, have a great night, my friend. I hope you're doing well. And if you have any questions, Willie, you give me a call, or email me, and let me know how you're doing, okay, sir? And so sad you can't stay, but I understand you work a lot of early hours, so, and the holidays are coming. You're gonna have some nice or downtime, so I'm looking forward for that for you. So we're going to get that really beautiful hard edge here. Just like so. And now we can work on some of these beautiful darks here. There is a brand, P.H. Martin makes India inks, but they're really not India ink because, in my opinion, they have acrylic in them. Plus, the real problem I have with P.H. Martin's colored India inks, and I'll tell you this, when you're looking at the earth tones, they're really gooey, you know? They're really thick like molasses, and kind of not good for the airbrush. So that's a caveat. They're good. They're reds and other colors. Their blues and greens are just marvelous, but not so much when it comes to the earth tones. So the earth tones are almost not usable. I know. I hate saying that. I hate being the bearer of good news because I love the idea of India inks that are in color. See how I'm getting this variation here? See how it's starting to look like gloves? But, I know it's not going to happen overnight. I just know it. So I'm not going to get upset or impatient, right? We just have to, have that, take no prisoners kind of look. And you see how I get that hard edge that's coming out over there. So without that hard edge, just nothing works, right? That glove has to come forward. So even though it's the same color as the background, I need to make that glove come forward. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to go ahead and darken that edge so that glove comes right for us. And we get that sense of depth. She's not just a paper cutout. She's a real person. And she's in a three-dimensional space, and it's our job to give that impression. Even though it's a two-dimensional surface, we have to give the impression that it's a three-dimensional form. So let's do that. And I know I'm not going to be perfect, right? But I'm going to make sure that I get the inherent quality of this glove. You can't get away without that, so that's what we're working on. So you see, it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. But you know what? It's going to happen in its own time. Nameless says, just stick with Candy 2.0. For color, I love working in Createx and their illustration line. Drew Blair is a genius. Yes, Drew Blair is a genius, and he has so much more experience than me in the airbrush world, and I just think he's amazing. And he had a real hand in making those paints. So, I really trust him. I think that those paints really do what I asked them to do. And isn't that like the best ink that we can get, or the best paint we can get, that it does exactly what we ask when we ask it. There we go. And you see, we've got to get that kind of movement, not just from the right side, but also from the left side, right? And vice versa. So here we have We have the stitching coming down, right? So this is basically how to paint a leather glove tutorial. It's kind of funny. Nameless subscriber that's called Artist Liberty. And oh, Jesus says you need to go. All right. So Jesus, thank you so much for hanging out. If you have any questions, you email me, Timothy at paintingglyphs.com. But always remember, or paintingglyphs@gmail.com. I won't be able to get to you right away, but I will try and get to you in a timely manner. Lately, it's been a little bit up in the air because of a lot that's going on. I'm making the video, doing some commissions here and there, working on personal projects, stuff with students. So it can get a little overwhelming, but I will get back to you. So if you have any questions, okay? I know someone had a question on the paper. So if you're seeing, I believe it was Benny, if you're seeing this video, the paper I use is Colorline paper by Canson. It's 184 pounds or 300 GSM if you're in the UK. And it also, the color is Pebble Gray. So it has a beautiful mid-tone gray that's warm. That goes perfect with those warm greenish tones of the India ink through the airbrush. So definitely a great surface to work on if you haven't. If you are interested and you can purchase it locally, go to inkflingers.com. I do sell the paper on there, okay? So, I have your back if you can't get it where you are. So there we go. So now we have this glove kind of beginning, right? And then we're going to work on some of the other glove here. So let's see what we can do to kind of up the realism by getting some of those contrast areas. And let's see. Oh, Patty, have a great night. Patty, I just want to let you know, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for the wonderful, wonderful ink flinger Christmas ornaments. I love them so much, and I'm going to show you a picture on the tree next week, so that's going to be great. Don't work too hard, okay? And let's see what else. Everyone else is wishing Patty a good night. That's great. So Nameless says he sneaked a peek at my inbox. Seems like you never check your emails. Wow, so how did you sneak a peek at my inbox, my friend? That's pretty scary. And so Nameless says that it's $13 on Amazon. I think it's like 8 ounce a bottle. So I'm not sure what you're alluding to. So do I have to change my password there, Nameless? Because if you can see my inbox, that's scary. Let's see. But I know I have a pretty good password, so I don't think you will get in there. But if you do, let me know if there's a problem with my security. That would be great if you could let me know that. So now we're going to go ahead and just put a little more oomph in these gloves here. Let's see. Oh, $13. Oh, you're talking about the Speedball. Speedball is the best ink out there. Best company. Really nice people. You call them. They're not going to be like other companies who think that it's an honor for you to talk to them. But the company is Speedball is the opposite. They're kind of like, it's an honor for them to talk to you. They know what it's like to be customer centric when it comes to working with people. you know, you really need in this day and age world-class customer service. And I really think that's, and I'm not talking about outsourcing, I'm talking about, you know, homegrown customer service. It's so important. And definitely a shout out there for anyone who oh, okay. So you do see the screen, and so let me see what this nameless says. You were doing something with the camera, showing us your screen. Oh, wow. Yes. So okay. So that's basically what you were seeing. Okay, that's still a security thing. So thank you for that. And what is my password? Yeah, no, ink flingers. No, my password is password. Yes, good customer service is a thing of the past, but the companies who are here to last still do it. And so Speedball is definitely one of them. Give them a call. Same thing with Golden Paint. Give them a call. Not only do they answer your phone call, but they really take your questions seriously. So I love that about them. And that's one thing, a customer's experience is going to last a lifetime. So that's why, you know, it's so important when you have the opportunity to make a good impression to do it. Even if that customer does not come back and purchase from you, if nothing else, you left them something really good to talk about. And that's what you want to do. I'm in customer service for many years, and that's basically, you know, and I agree with Tone, it's definitely a thing of the past. Let me get my water. Where is it? It's probably where my glasses were, where it should have been where my water was. Let me go get that. So you can see, you know, developing these gloves is very important and time consuming. So they're both important and time consuming. So now we can go back to our media mixture and our airbrush, and we can start maybe working on this side a little bit. Let's see. So that's funny there, nameless subscriber. So very cool that you were observant like that. Okay, so you see how this comes in, and we're just going to soften that a little bit. I'm going to lower my air pressure, and I'm just going to pump that trigger, and I'm kind of going to get some of that weird texture. See that? So you can get some of that texture. Same thing here. That's overzealous, right? What are you thinking, Tim? You know, it's a lot of things I'm thinking. So I just have to tap it. And then once I tap it, I'm going to come back in with my detail mixture. Medium mixture would be too powerful. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and gain some texture here. See that? And just kind of soften some of these crazy dark areas. This comes here. And we have area like this. Some coming down. Don't lose sight of the big picture. And then we're going to come back in with the white pastel, maybe Fons and Porter, and let's work on some of those stitches. I think it might be best with the white pastel and the stump. Let's just give it a try. Give the old college try. See, with the stump, we can be a lot lighter and a lot more finesse than if we were using the Fons and Porter. And you see, we can kind of break that up a little bit, and it gets real real light, so pretty much we're no longer using the white pastel, but just an eraser. And you see how that kind of fades down there, which is good. And then we could work on this area. This little bit of highlight that kind of catches. And we'll get it. Some areas are really tight. You're going to have to come in with the Mr. Fonz and Porter here. Just like so. And right here. The spaces are sometimes just as important as the strokes itself. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to that. And let's see what I'm missing here. Let's see. Tone says good customer service. Spray Gunner still has good customer service. I heard good things about them, yes. Nameless says, try and pass Tim's password. If it doesn't read it on them abruptly, end the stream. That's an interesting game, definitely. And then we're just going to continue working on this area, guys. Yeah, it's network security it's a big deal, right? It really is. So we have sort of a shadowy area here. So I'm not sure what's happening, but we're getting away with not plowing the field with this. It doesn't always work out that way, but you know, like I said, sometimes you gotta go with it and take the good times when they come. Let the good times roll. So who sang that song, Let the Good Times? That the Cars? I think that was the Cars, Let the Good Times Roll. From the soundtrack of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Am I right? Do I know my 80s trivia? So Brad says there's another one of those tech messages. Hopefully the feed doesn't go down again. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's so weird. Maybe I have enemies I don't know about. I hope not. Well, it wouldn't be the first. Definitely won't be the last. And again, we're just going to start working on this glove here, the whole glove. So we're going to basically bring this glove up to a certain amount of resolution, and then we can work on the other glove. And hey Nicholas, how you doing? Yes, it was the Cars, definitely. Great song. I love the what is it, that little riff in there, you know? I think it's a guitar or something. Really great. And Blue says Caroline, Mary, and Sophie better get off the feed. And oh, Karen Blue, that was another one, huh? So something's going on. So who knows what that is? And what's their, you know, what is the advantage of it, right? You know, are they using it to hijack the internet connection or something like that for their own feed or something? Who knows? And I'm just going to soften this up here. So one of the things is you're always going to push your technique, right? You're always going to take it to that next level. You're never going to be satisfied with where you are or impressed by where you are. You're always going to push things to the next level. So these gloves are very difficult, and it's pushing my technique to its, to its limit. And I welcome that, because next time I'll be able to do even a better job, and I won't be afraid of it. You never want to be afraid of anything, because, something as difficult as this, you never want it to stop you from attacking it, right? It's so important to be brave and bold, because what else is there? You don't want anything to get in the way of your expression ever. So you're going to continue fighting and pushing your technique to the limit. Let's see here. Even here, you want to make sure that you don't let things become equidistant and the same size. So even if you have to change it a little bit, just to add some interest, you have to make sure that you don't let things become equidistant and the same size. You always want to vary it. And we can just come here and just start in this. There we go. And now let's move back to the other finger. And we're going to start with the white pastel on the other hand here. And we're just going to, like always, we're just going to attack. We're going to jump, and we're going to worry about landing later. They do hate airbrushing, Jesus. That's what it is. I hate that. They changed my password. Yeah, I changed it not too long ago. But yeah, I always try and have a very interesting, like George did in Seinfeld. Remember Bosco? That was hilarious. Any Seinfeld fans out there? So I'm going to concentrate on this finger, because if I don't concentrate on smaller areas, I can get lost. And I don't want to get lost or overwhelmed. So now that I have that there, I'm going to come back in with my paintbrush and the medium mixture. And I'm just going to paint in some of, going to paint in the stitch there. I'm going to get rid of the excess water once again. Let a piece of paper, scrap paper, absorb the excess water. We don't want the excess water onto our ink. So let's see how this goes. Okay, here we are. And it might be too wet. There we go. So you can see ever so lightly, you can see the stitch. And then, since we're there, let's do the stitch on this particular finger. Great. Now we can go ahead, and since we have that done, let's quickly come in with the Fons and Porter, because this is really super, super thin, right? Oh, cool. So Nameless used to hate Seinfeld, but now he likes it. Brad says jump and the net will appear. I like that. That's really good. And so let's go ahead and just hit these lights ever so quietly. Less pressure is going to be the answer. Less pressure makes it lighter. There we go. And we can use that white pastel here, and we can start doing a little bit of a larger area of white here, and then just a slit of white on the other side where the stitch is. Here, just on the outside, we have a little indication. And then we'll do the same here with this particular finger. There we go. Then we'll come back with that brush and we'll make that stitch darker. That would be cool. There goes my one flavored sweet drink for the week with sugar. And hey Joseph, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much, Joseph. It's so good to have you here. And thank you so much for that encouragement. Thank you. And let's see, what else did I miss? I think what's happening is that the live stream is losing its bandwidth, and I think that's what's causing me to. But I have like really good internet, so. It's either the software that I'm using or it's actually YouTube itself. I would not think it was YouTube itself, but you just never know. Let's go ahead and put that there like so. Come back in with this white pastel and let's work on this area here. We just have to have patience with Jodie. She's going to reveal herself. If we just, we just got to make sure that we let the muses talk to us and be patient. They will reveal their secrets. We have to be working and listening, and the muses will just out of the blue, they will just talk to us. I really believe that. There we go. That looks better. And let's go ahead and put this here. Remember, light pressure is your answer. Light pressure means light application. We'll come back to that, and So YouTube hates Nameless, he says. Don't let him comment if they disappear from every video seconds after he posts. Luckily, he can still live chat. That's interesting. So definitely. So Paul says, mailing address, Jesus, and how's that new side feed working? Oh, cool. So Jesus, you have a side feed. I'd love to hear it if you don't mind sharing. I'm going to continue working on this glove. Now we're setting up for some really nice highlights. And let's make sure we get this contour nice and dark and push that out from the surface. Push this in front of the hair and everything else. One second rule will always keep you in the game and keep everything in front of you, and you're always going to do better with painting reality. You're always going to be more accurate with the 1 second rule, okay? So I am working on two different students. We're working on the same David Bowie painting. That's a lot of fun. I really love painting David Bowie. He really is amazing. Looks amazing, just like real interesting to paint. Anyone who's painted him knows what I'm saying. We'll come back to that. Refine that shape. And just bring this over like so. This dark comes in. You want to bring these fingers up a little further, create some sort of depth of field. Go. See, on this side we have to have a hard edge because this side is soft. Otherwise, her gloves are just going to disappear and have no form, and that's not what we want. Go. And now we'll go ahead and we'll come in with the medium mixture and shape some of those soft edges on the left side of her glove here. Just kind of lose that edge. There we go. And let's fix some of this area here. Tenacity. Where most will give up, we're going to stick with it, right? We're tenacious. We are not giving up. We are going to get it done, and we are going to will it done. So let's just continue down this whole line of thinking here. So here you see we have this kind of darkness here. We got to make sure we get this edge. This light is much bigger, so we want to make sure that we have the right negative space here. And this is much lighter, but it's still wet, so I'm not going to touch it. But you have to be careful. You don't want to erase on wet paper, because it's just going to make you pay. That paper is going to get destroyed, and you're not going to be very happy. Don't blame me, okay? I warned you. There we go. I kind of like that. We have to work on this here, softening this up. And then last week we were working on the other area, such as her hair. So we want to continue along that route with the hair. So we're going to take a little respite from the gloves a little bit. We'll come back to it, but I'm happy with the progress nonetheless. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, so we have to make sure that we take our time. So what we can do is we can take our aggressive eraser, and what we can do is just begin to plow the field for some of those whites here. And let's make this happen. You see there's a nice little negative space right here. I'm just going to indicate it. Here. That. We want to build up this hair super slow. Super slow we want to build up this hair, because we got a lot of volume to do, and that takes time. So we don't want to rush it. And let's see, so and Jesus says, not yet, Tim, I won't. Oh, you want it on DreadFX? He sent it from the UK and has not reached him. When it does, he will let me know. And so so you want something on DreadFX? That's really cool. Oh, did you win it on? So I do sell the Fonz and Porter, if that's what you're asking, Jesus. So I do have 2 left in stock. So that's always good. But if you want it at DreadFX, that's great. So definitely, it is a UK product. It's actually a tool for tailors. You know, when they measure the clothes, that's where that came from. So I made it into an art supply. I willed it. Actually, there's a really good pencil artist out there. He's really fantastic. I met him in 2017. And he told me about Fonz and Porter. I haven't looked back yet. And it's great for his work, because he does these really tight detail stuff. Is really just out of this world. So you see how I'm shaping this light with the aggressive eraser. See how I'm doing that? And the gloves work better when the hair around it is more defined. And the hair works better when the gloves around it are more defined. So you see how all of these things are interdependent for them to work. That's why we don't look for likenesses too early, right? We got to take our time for that. go. And we don't really need to be like totally accurate. We have to have the direction of the hair, which is very important. You want to have that direction. His name is John. I forget his last name, but I will. Let me look him up real quick. He's really fantastic. See if he comes up on my live stream. How many Johns? There's so many Johns in my friends list. Oh my goodness. John Payne, John Rowe, John Deepman, John Harold, John Wood. So the artist's name is John Wood. So look him up, John Wood, or JMW Artist. He's really fantastic. And he was the one who told me about Fons and Porter about 4 years ago. And I actually, because I was doing just drawing and pastel at that time. I was still doing airbrush, but I was also doing pastel and drawing tutorials. And so we became friends. He was watching my drawing tutorials. Really good guy. He's from the UK. A lot of great artists over there in the UK on the other side of that pond. And I have the pleasure and honor of knowing them, you know, and my students in the UK. They're just fantastic people. Really like them. Okay, so now I have the general light setting up, right? I'm going to continue along these lines of developing the hair. Just going to continue along these lines. Going to do some individual hairs coming here. Just some interest. Now, this is all being set up for what's coming on down the pike is the Fons and Porter and the white pastel. This is all being set up. We're plowing the field for that. We're taking our time. We're also doing some errant hairs, some hairs in different directions, because hair is unpredictable and it does its own thing. So this is portrait painting 101. Think of it that way. Even though we're using airbrush, this is exactly what you do when you have a portrait commission, regardless of whatever style you have. You want to slowly get to your likeness. You don't want to attack the likeness right away. Much more important things, such as edges and lights within the darks and dynamic range. There's a lot of things that are more important than getting a likeness during a lot of stages of your work. So you see how I'm just very slowly making this happen. I'm in no rush. I don't care if it's going to be a week 10, a week 11, a week 12, as long as I'm showing you all how to do it, you know? And Tim, have you ever had anyone use acrylic 5-lens pro dye? I haven't. And so tell me about that, Jesus. What is it? Where do we get it? And what's the application? So, let's see. Oh, David Bowie. So you want to look at one of my David Bowies? I'll show you one of my past David Bowies if I can. That's always good to see, guys. I love this one. Okay, so we are almost back. So we are back. So that's good. So thank you for not leaving. So we still have 8 people. We lost a bunch. So we only have another 20 minutes to go. So that's great. You know, I really got to get rid of XSplit. XSplit is really a horrible program. Used to be good, but it is so horrible. And talking about customer service, when I called them to fix it, they were like, you need to go into your computer. It might be your computer. And I'm like, no, I have like a really powerful computer. Spent a lot of money on it, and it's state of the art. Oh no, you have to do this test. Wait a second. It's your program. You're screwing up, and you want me to do something? no, you do something and figure it out. And then they said, and then I said, I need to speak to a supervisor, and someone else came on the line, and I'm like, are you a supervisor? And they wouldn't answer my question. So I'm like, wow, you're a chicken outfit. And of course, they're in some third world nation, and not that there's anything against people in a third world nation, but they don't really care, and they can't relate to me, and I can't relate to them. So that is a point of frustration for both of us. So, you know, if you're going to be working with a certain clientele, you should have customer service representatives that could understand me and I could understand them. That just makes for a much better experience all around. It might be a controversial thing I'm saying, but I think it's more important. It's more important to have that, you know? So yes, I'm so glad I'm back, and thank you so much for sticking around. And but no, it's this particular program keeps dying on me, and that's terrible for a live stream program. So I have excellent bandwidth. I have everything, all my ducks in a row. My dots, my I's are dotted, and my T's are crossed, and then this program is basically hurting the experience. So, but you know what? Live stream, and Tone, you will definitely agree if you're still there. Live streaming is still in its infancy. So there are only a handful of programs, and the ones that are out there, they're not really fighting for market share because there's really no competition. So they don't really care. They're like, sorry, not sorry. So hopefully more people will be doing live stream. But I think they have to make it easier, because those who are successful live streamers, like myself, are really invested in all the technology. There's another one coming up, StreamYards, but they mess up a lot too, and they're too expensive. So with that being said, I'm not going to be spending that kind of money. And John says, stoning pretty good here, folks. Gonna head out. John, you be careful. Take it easy. Get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow everything's going to be better. The weather, there'll be no mess or anything like that, you know, more wind, so that would be good. Hopefully no damage to your house. And John, thank you so much. And Joseph, I'm glad you're still here. And Nameless says NASA had better reception the first time they landed on the moon. And so thanks so much, John, for hanging out with me and hanging out with us. And the live stream is not the same without you. So glad you're part of our community. And that's what we're building. We're building community. Where else would a live stream that people would stick around than you all? You all stick around because you're the best. You're the best out there. And I don't care, you know, I have less people in the live streams, but we're building a community, which is so exciting. And remember, things that grow slowly are the ones that last. So we're just going to grow slowly, and we're just going to have strong roots and a strong trunk, and we're really going to be kicking butt in the airbrush world. That's my goal, and I know we're going to do that. So there's also a Malcolm Gladwell book called The Tipping Point. There's always something that, you know, things are starting small, but there's always that tipping point. I know that tipping point's going to come, and when it does, because we're putting all the right pieces in place. So, and let's see if I'm missing something. And let's see. So Nameless says, I'm going to start talking customer service in German. Angry German. That would be interesting. I'd like you to go ahead and have that in video. See what kind of reaction you get. And then, so here's an interesting thing, and I was talking this with several students during the week. I have a mentorship program, And the mentorship program is really good. If you want information on the mentorship program, it's going to be on inkflingers.com. That's my new website. And paintedglyphs.com is going down. So the new website is Inkflingers, right? So I'm just going to go there. I'm going to show you the link where you have the mentorship program, which is $100 a month. And I'm just going to give you the link here. And this mentorship program is second to none. My students, they learn so much over a period of time that it's astounding the work that they do. And it's not the work that they do with me that's so important, but the work that the students do on their own. So here is the link. Go ahead and hit that link. And oh, Nigel, have a good night, my friend. And thank you so much for sticking with it during the interruptions. And always a pleasure, Nigel. Nigel is from the UK, so it's like really late over there. And I really appreciate that, sir. I appreciate you staying up to the late hour to hang out with us. So now I'm just going to move around. I only have like, what, 13 minutes left? So let's move around. And Jesus C says, I'm limited to Spanish and English. Y yo también, señor. You know, estoy aprendiendo la lengua. Pero yo necesito practicar más, mucho más. Pero me encanta la lengua. Me encanta los hispanos. España, todos los países que se habla inglés, se habla español, lo siento. So right here, right, we have this muscle here. If you see this muscle, you see how over here it's much thicker and you have light there? And there's a reason for that, and we're going to talk about that reason. And let's talk about that reason by showing you a photo. Let's see if it shows up. Can you all see that? Can you see that photo right here? Are you able to see the photo that's there? No, you can't see it. And so I'm going to show that in a screen here. So what if I put this over here? And then I go to desktop capture. Great. So you see that. And so you see right here this muscle? This muscle is so important because with that muscle, you see that it goes inside the socket to the corner of the eye and comes out and wraps around this part of the orbital ridge. So that's why the muscle gets bigger over here, because it's wrapping over a larger area. And also there's it kind of protrudes, and that's why it's lighter there. Same thing, it's darker here and it gets lighter on the cheekbone. So with that being said, when we come back over here, you can see now we can go ahead and put that in. So you see how cool that is? And hey Todd, have a great night, my friend. Always a pleasure. Same thing over here. We have that same muscle going on right there. And so when we're looking for the muscles and we know where they are, it's a lot easier to find them, and it's a lot easier to say something about it when you have that. So I'm going to also, with that muscle that's over here. Was everyone able to hear me when I was talking about the anatomy? When I shown that slide, were you able to hear me? Oh, the volume went down slightly, yes. That happens when going to that particular mode. And let's see. Oh, thanks. So Brad said he's been working with me in the mentorship program for almost 2 years now, and can't see it ending anytime soon. The wealth of knowledge. Thank you, sir. Well, Brad's a really great student, so it's a pleasure working with him. But yeah, the mentorship program is usually it's 1 week of a 2-hour class with me, and we work on a project over time, and then you have a group class. So 4 hours instruction a week, and that's for $100 a month. And the reason why I keep it so inexpensive, because you know, there's a lot of technology that I teach that you would like to buy that will help you to create really stunning airbrush paintings. So it's definitely, if you're looking for something like that, I would have to say the mentorship program is probably the least expensive and probably the most information packed that you can hope for. And I don't know about you guys, but I learned really well over time. So that's something to really think about. If you learn more from over time, then definitely think about my mentorship program. I think it will really, really take your art, not just your airbrushing, but open you up to drawing, to painting in pastels. So that's the thing. I don't really, make airbrush artists. I create artists. I help you to become the artist that's inside and bring that out. And Jesus says, Tim, your next live stream should be in Spanish, hoping the trolls don't speak Spanish. Sí, entonces solamente en español, right? Como Telemundo. Closed caption in Spanish. That's true. And let's see. And yeah, I do love Spanish, but I have to get a little bit better. Although I do speak it fluently, I have to get better. There we go. I had a Spanish-speaking wife, so that definitely helps speed up matters. But I spoke Spanish before we got married. But I'm not married anymore. So now I just speak Spanish. Yo soy gringo que se puede hablar español. Pero no soy gringo. Entonces, yo puedo cocinar en comida hispana, como empanadas, pollo guisado, just a lot of different things, comida mexicana, todas las cosas, con mucho sabor, ¿no? Sí, como Telemundo, tu canal. Yeah, a lot of people, the way I look and then I start speaking Spanish, it kind of freaks them out. Oh my God, this guy speaks Spanish. Did I say something bad? And they do that, right? They're like, oh my God, I didn't know this guy spoke Spanish. So it kind of blows their mind. Especially when I go into a Spanish restaurant and order, and they're just like, oh, you speak Spanish. So funny. Oh, cool. So Paul has a good question. What do you need? All you need is your laptop, and then I will take care of the rest. You just need your laptop. I have all my cameras, and we meet up and we work on the project together. And you also, if you have your phone, that's good, because you can have the phone pointed at your artwork, and then you can have the laptop pointing at you. So it's the best classroom experience. I'm going to say something controversial, because the way I have my classroom set up, I would say it's better than if you were in my class, face to face. That's what I think. I really think it's actually better. So I've been doing this for over 2 years now, which is the classroom, the online classroom. So I did perfect the curriculum and the techniques and making you feel comfortable and all of that. Yes, we did hear about that, Tone. It's so sad, right? So, and I did dedicate this live stream to Mr. Hill, and so yeah, so definitely think about it. It's the best value. It really comes out to less than $25 a week. You get a 2-hour class with me, one-on-one every week, and it's one-on-one until it gets bigger, and then maybe the class sizes might be 2 or 3 people. But right now it's still one-on-one. And so definitely take advantage of it if you can. Do it for a month. I guarantee you're going to stay, right? So do a test one for a month and watch what happens. Is that you're going to be addicted. And I'll be addicted to hanging out with you. And it's like, you know, with my students, it's like I look forward to seeing them every week. I really do. You know, Roy and Brad and Colette and you know, we have Juan Carlos in the UK. We have Stephen in the UK. I even do classes with an Italian gentleman in Tuscany. So yeah, I mean, there's no language barriers and everything. So it really is a great experience. So give it a try a month. I guarantee that you're just gonna love it, and you're just. So here's the thing, right? So, this is so important. How many times have you all wanted to paint, and then life got in the way, and you know, you didn't get around to it, and you didn't paint this week, and then another week came by, and before you know it, 6 weeks before you picked up the airbrush. Why my students grow is that every week, at least once a week, they're meeting with me and painting. And if you want consistency, my mentorship program is going to give you consistency, and it's going to give you consistent growth. And you're going to be so surprised how far you come, you know? And so let's see what we say. So Jesus says, La dieta de la T is tacos, tomate, tostadas, claro que sí. Tú tienes razón, señor. Nameless subscriber says people are shocked to find out that he speaks Spanish as well. Mostly curse. I hide it to lessen their conversations, and all of a sudden the white boy is speaking Spanish with a Mexican accent. Are you from Texas, or are you from Los Angeles? Yeah, it's great that you do learn the culture, because you know, when we learn the culture, there's less chance of any kind of prejudice, because we realize when we learn other cultures, and then when they see that we're learning the culture, and we start talking. I have so many friends who don't speak any English, and we're just like really cool, and they're starting to learn English, because here I am, an American, working hard to understand them and opening up to the beauty of their culture, and then they can open up to the beauty of our culture. One thing I don't like is that whole expression, cultural appropriation. I think none of our cultures are our own, that our cultures are there to share and to enrich in each other's lives. So bravo to the Hispanic community, and bravo to Nameless, who is going ahead and learning Spanish. So I really appreciate that. So everybody, look at that. We're at 11:29. Thanks, Paul. You know, she's coming along slowly, right? A lot slowly than I thought, but every painting is different, so I'm not rushing it. Those gloves are a doozy, so I know I gotta come back to that next week. And Jesus says, don't fall in the trap. You see Canelo. Many folks look like Canelo in north part of Mexico, and countries in Latin America. That's true. That's true. You just never know, you know, who speaks who and what language we are in backgrounds. It's so cool. And so yeah, I just love growing as a person and learning about new cultures and everything like that. So everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you, Mr. Paul, for the super chat. I appreciate that more than you know. And we are getting there slowly but surely. Thank you so much for the little hiccups I had and sticking with me. I really appreciate that. We still ended up with a really nice live stream with 16 concurrent viewers at the end, and that's really good. So 11:30 once again. God bless Mr. Terry Hill. I really pray that that you're in heaven and you're airbrushing everything you want right now. And thank you so much for your life and giving it to us. Everyone, you guys are the best. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon, okay? Let me go ahead and end the live stream. Have a great weekend.